Staying wet a lot longer than the citri-strip. If you want something, you've got to do something about it every single day. So let's knock this thing off of here. There we go. Nice and loose. Ooh, now it's getting tight again. Well, there's a screw here for oil, and it's down below the surface quite a ways. I'm going to bring that up. There's another one here. Doubt that this has anything to do with it. But this one could be interfering with the threads. I don't want to mess up my threads. Yeah, I think that's easier. Probably was touching the threads. This is very interesting how this is made. This is an undercut here. So when you drip oil in through this hole, it runs around this undercut and look, into a hole. So this becomes an oil reservoir, and wherever this hole is, it ends up lubricating the shaft. Ends up getting in through that hole. So that's interesting the way that's put together. Yeah, so I can see some shiny threads here where I turned against that screw. It's a good thing I stopped when I did. I'm sure I can clean that up. Yeah, this lead screw is worn like every other lead screw in the lathe. These will be separate projects, redoing all of these. Here's another problem I've discovered. This is the cross-slide drive gear that drives this screw and drives the carriage, or drives the cross-slide into the work. And I see a key kind of in a tortured position here. And when I look over on the other side, the key weighs up here in a different position. So let's think of that as 12 o'clock. Let's think of that as 3 o'clock. So I believe this gear is held on with a key and it's been sheared. Look at the crud in the gear. So I'm going to have to tear this down and see what's going on here. Something's been jammed up. Probably the lathe was crashed at one time or another, and this is probably one of the failure points. So everything I take apart on this lathe, I find something it needs. But I haven't found anything that I can't deal with. It's a Wednesday morning, and before I go into work, I'm going to spend about 20 minutes here cleaning the stripper off of my parts. Well, it's hard to do something every day, but I do my best to do something every day. Well, the stripper didn't work very good on this part. I was down to the dregs of the container. Maybe I didn't put it on thick enough. I got something new to try. I'm going to try that on this part. We'll have breakfast and let it dry. Try the new stripper. Remember, these parts had 4 layers of paint on them. These other items that are done, I'm going to go rinse them in the solvent tank. Make sure we don't get any rust. Yeah, this probably needs to be done again. I'm going to try this magic strip. Got this at Menards. Cleaned my citri-strip stuff out. Oh, this is a little more syrupy, a little more liquidy. Kind of greenish. Has a similar smell. I'm looking for that magic stripping product that doesn't burn your hands, takes every layer of paint off. The first try, you don't need to be used 3, 4, 5 times. Cleans itself when it's done, and paints it whatever color you're thinking about. That would be the perfect stripper. I kind of expect very similar results out of this. I don't know why this stripped on the inside so much quicker. Probably wasn't as many layers of paint in here. You can imagine somebody painting a machine and just painting the outside part where the boss could see, or where their buddies could see, whatever the case may be. I don't know the history of this lathe. Don't know who it was originally sold to, or I do know the guy I bought it off of, he said is out of his father's estate. I sure would have loved to, it's like one of the last things out of his father's estate. I sure would have loved to have seen the estate when all of his tools were there. I got a taper attachment with this lathe, but it doesn't have the hardware to connect the with the sliding angle rail to the compound, or to the cross slide. So that's no big deal. I can make those parts. I can make anything. It just takes time. Now nothing seems to touch this brown paint on this part here. There is a factory part. This is a little guard that goes between the ways on the bed and protects chips from getting in the belt slot in the chip pan. And nothing seems to touch this brown paint on here. It's some kind of super duper primer. Of course, this, you can see it has taken a little bit off back here. We'll put some of that on there. We'll see what happens. Well, my little progress here in the morning before I go to work. I want to check on my stripper here. I'm trying this magic strip, and it looks like it's taking longer to curl the paint up, but maybe not. Look at this. Look how it's coming off. Notice how it's staying wet a lot longer than the citri-strip. I think I'm going to like this. This looks like it's working really well. So I'll come back this evening after this is baked in the sun. We'll see if the paint has restuck down or if it comes off. But it's time for me to go now. But I made some progress on my project this morning before going to work. You can too.